Hello, dear listeners, and welcome to a heartfelt journey on finding peace and purpose in your golden years. Imagine this. You are sitting in a quiet home, the laughter of family now a distant memory, and the weight of loneliness creeps in. It is a worry many face as they age, with studies showing that over 30% of older adults report feeling isolated, which can impact both mental and physical health. But here is the good news. You are not alone in this, and there is hope. Today, we will share the inspiring story of Mark Thompson, a 62-year-old who faced loss and solitude, but discovered resilience and joy. Through simple, meaningful steps. So, settle in, and let us explore how you, too, can embrace each day with purpose and connection, no matter what life brings. Mark's background and initial struggles. Now, let me introduce you to Mark Thompson, a warm and relatable 62-year-old whose story might feel close to your own. Picture Mark in his cozy home, reflecting on a life filled with purpose. For nearly half his life, he worked at a public service agency in the United States, pouring his heart into his work. But when his department restructured, Mark faced early retirement. He had always lived modestly, with enough savings to get by, but he was far from wealthy. For a while, life seemed okay. His home once buzzed with love, shared with his wife Anne, son Adam, and daughter Eva. But time changed everything. His children grew up, married, and moved away. Adam 2 hours north, and Eva to another state. Then heartbreak struck. Several years ago, Anne passed away after a long illness. In what felt like a heartbeat, Mark found himself alone in a house once alive with laughter. One evening, sitting on his living room sofa, the silence was deafening. Research tells us that loneliness in older adults can increase the risk of depression and even heart disease by up to 30%, and Mark felt that weight. 30%. And Mark? A wave of isolation hit him hard, making him wonder how he would carry on. Yet, in that quiet moment, a spark of resilience flickered. Mark's story reminds us that even in our darkest times, there is a chance to rebuild, to find connection, and to live with purpose. Stay with us, as Mark's journey shows how small steps can lead to hope and change. 2. Deepening loneliness and realization. As Mark sat alone on that quiet evening, the silence of his home seemed to wrap around him like a heavy blanket. Then, his phone rang, breaking the stillness. It was his son, Adam. His voice hurried, almost apologetic. "Hey, Dad, are you home alone tonight? I was going to drop by with Kate, but work got in the way, so we cannot make it." Mark's heart sank, a pang of disappointment settling in. He understood Adam had a busy life, a career, and a family to care for. But the loneliness stung. "Trying to stay strong," he replied. "It is fine. Son, do not worry about me. I am doing okay." But as he hung up, a long sigh escaped him. The world felt like it was moving on, leaving him behind. Once, Mark had a job to go to, a family to nurture. But now, in early retirement, his days were filled with empty thoughts. His wife was gone. His kids were building their own lives, and the emptiness grew so real he could almost touch it. Studies show that chronic loneliness can raise stress hormone levels, increasing health risks like high blood pressure by 80%, and Mark was feeling that strain. But then, a moment of connection changed everything. His neighbor, Mr. Lewis, a kind man of similar age, stopped by. When Mark admitted he lived alone, Mr. Lewis nodded knowingly. "I am in the same boat," he said. "My wife passed, and my kids are too busy to visit." Hearing those words was like a tender ache, painful yet comforting. Mark realized he was not alone in his struggle. Countless older adults shared this quiet heartbreak. This moment of shared understanding planted a seed of hope, a reminder that even in solitude, connection is possible. Mark's story urges us to reach out, to listen, and to find strength in shared experiences, no matter how small. 3. Reflection and concern for the future. Mr. Lewis's words lingered in Mark's mind like a gentle warning. He had said, "If the day comes when it is really just you alone in this big house, what will you do?" Those words pierced Mark's heart, stirring a quiet worry about his future. He began to picture himself truly alone, with no one to talk to, no one to help if he fell ill. How would he cope? Research shows that social isolation in older adults can increase the risk of cognitive decline by up to 50%. And Mark felt that fear creeping in. For days and nights, that question echoed in his thoughts, keeping him awake. Then, his daughter Eva visited with his little granddaughter, bringing a flicker of joy. Mark cooked Eva's favorite childhood dishes, hoping for a long, warm chat. But as soon as she arrived, Eva said, "Dad, I only have a bit of time. Work is crazy, and I need to pick up Ryan later." Mark saw the stress etched on her face, her life stretched thin by work and family. He wanted more than a rushed 15 minutes, but he smiled and said, "That is fine, honey. I'm doing all right." As Eva and her daughter left, Mark stood by the window, watching them fade down the street, a hollow ache in his chest. That night, lying in bed, Mr. Lewis's words returned, and the thought of living alone forever felt heavier than ever. But in that quiet moment, a spark of determination flickered. "I cannot just drift like this," Mark thought. "I need a plan." His story stirs empathy for those juggling busy lives and reminds us that even in worry, there is hope. Mark's resolve to take action inspires us to face our fears, plan for the future, and hold tight to the connections that matter. 4. Taking action and building connections. Determined to break free from the grip of loneliness, Mark took a bold step. He invited his neighbor, Mr. Lewis, for a stroll in the local park, where they sat on a bench, watching the world go by. Mark opened up, saying, "I have been thinking a lot about what you said. If we end up alone in our old age, how do we manage?" Mr. Lewis nodded thoughtfully and shared some wisdom. "First, we need to secure our finances," he said. "Enough savings for bills, groceries, and medical expenses, so we are not caught off guard." Mark agreed, knowing that while money cannot buy happiness, financial stress can worsen loneliness. Studies show that financial insecurity in older adults can increase anxiety by 40%. So, Mark spent days reviewing his savings, estimating future needs, including medical bills, and realized planning was key to peace of mind. "Mr. Lewis went on, "We cannot rely on our kids forever. They have their own lives, often too far to help quickly. We need to stay active, join group activities, and avoid shutting ourselves away." Those words hit home. Mark saw how he had isolated himself since retirement, spending days watching TV or staring at blank walls, letting loneliness creep in. Research confirms that regular social engagement can reduce depression risk in seniors by 30%, and Mark wanted that change. He started jogging in the park each morning, or doing gentle stretches, feeling his body and spirit lift. In the evenings, he joined the community center, playing chess and board games with other retirees. Slowly, new friendships blossomed, and his world grew brighter. Mark's story shows the power of small actions, stirring hope that we, too, can build connections and find joy, no matter our age. Let his courage inspire you to step out, connect, and embrace life fully. 5. Seeking companionship, even with new friends and routines. Mark still faced quiet nights when loneliness slipped back in, especially as he lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. He began to worry about what would happen if he fell seriously ill. Who would be there for him? That fear, backed by studies showing that social isolation can increase mortality risk by up to 26% in older adults, weighed heavily on him. Then, a new thought emerged: finding a companion in his later years. At first, Mark felt torn. His wife, Anne, had passed just a few years ago, and the idea of someone new felt like a betrayal. The ache of loneliness grew stronger, though, pushing him to confide in Mr. Lewis. His friend listened closely and said, "Mark, there is no shame in wanting companionship. At our age, it is not about someone doing chores or serving you. It is about sharing stories, keeping loneliness at bay." Those words eased Mark's guilt, helping him see that seeking a partner was not about forgetting Anne, but about choosing to live fully. Research supports this, showing that companionship in later life can boost mental health and reduce stress by 35%. During an evening at the community center, Mark met Linda Brown, a warm, lively woman his age. Like Mark, she lived alone, her children far away for work. Linda loved day trips and embraced life with a spark that drew Mark in. They clicked instantly, swapping phone numbers and soon chatting regularly. Mark's heart lifted, and his story stirs empathy for those yearning for connection. His courage to open up offers hope, inspiring us to seek companionship, embrace new bonds, and find light in our golden years. 6. Life with Linda. As Mark and Linda grew closer, their days filled with a warmth Mark thought he had lost forever. They went grocery shopping together, tried new recipes, and took morning walks, their laughter echoing through the once quiet house. Linda's presence brought a brightness that chased away the shadows of loneliness. They did not feel the need to marry. Their bond was simple and steady, built on shared moments, like talking over dinner or discussing the day's small joys. Studies show that strong social connections in older age can lower the risk of depression by up to 30%. And Mark felt that lift in his spirit. But life tested their peace one day when Mark came down with a high fever. Worry crept in, as illness can heighten fears of vulnerability in older adults. Linda sprang into action, ensuring he took his medications, gently wiping his forehead with a cool cloth, and even calling his son Adam to help get Mark to a doctor. When Adam arrived, he was touched by Linda's care. "Dad, why did not you call me sooner? If you are sick, I want to know." Mark managed a weak laugh. "Son, I did not want to burden you, and Linda has been a godsend." At the hospital, the doctor reassured them it was just a virus needing rest. Adam offered to take Mark to his home, but Mark felt safest with Linda, who knew his routines best. This moment underscored the profound value of having someone who cared deeply, day in and day out. Their quiet companionship, different from the fiery romance of youth, was a steady anchor, proving that love in later years can bring immense comfort. Mark's story evokes empathy for those craving such closeness and sparks hope, encouraging us to nurture relationships that make life richer and to cherish those who stand by us, inspiring positive change through connection. 7. Loss of Linda. Life with Linda brought Mark a sense of peace, but life has a way of surprising us. One afternoon, Linda's son called from a few states away with big news. He was getting married and hoped Linda would move in to help with preparations. Mark saw the worry in Linda's eyes. She knew how much he relied on her companionship. Yet, her love for her son pulled at her heart. Trying to be strong, Mark said, "Linda, This is wonderful news. Your son needs you. Family is important. Go." Linda hesitated, tears glistening, and said, "I'm so used to this place. Mark. But maybe I should be with my children." Mark forced a smile. "They need you. Linda, you will be fine." Deep down, he was not fine. When he drove her to the bus station a few days later, his heart felt heavy, like a stone. As the bus pulled away, Mark stood frozen, watching Linda disappear, the ache of loss settling in. Studies show that losing a close companion can increase feelings of loneliness by 40% in older adults, and Mark felt that void keenly. Back home, the house felt too big, too silent, echoing with memories of Linda's laughter. He tried to return to his routines, chatting with neighbors and visiting the community center, but the warmth Linda brought was gone, replaced by a deeper loneliness. Mark's story stirs empathy for those facing such sudden losses, reminding us how fragile our connections can be. Yet, even in this heartache, there is a glimmer of hope. Mark's strength to carry on inspires us to hold tight to loved ones while they are here and to find resilience in the face of loss, motivating us to seek new connections and live fully despite life's changes. 8. Exploring assisted living. With Linda gone, Mark faced the silence of his home once more, and the weight of loneliness pressed harder than before. His son Adam and daughter Eva called often, noticing the sadness in his voice, but they lived too far to be there regularly, and Mark knew he could not expect them to pause their busy lives just for him. One day, while at the community center, Mark overheard folks talking about assisted living facilities, places designed for older adults with medical staff, group activities, and a built-in community. The idea sparked something in him. Maybe this could be a solution, a way to feel secure and connected. Studies show that assisted living can reduce feelings of isolation by 25% in seniors, offering both care and companionship. Curious, Mark called Adam to share his thoughts. Adam sounded concerned. "Dad, are you sure about moving to a senior living place? Will it not be depressing?" Mark took a deep breath and explained. "Son, it is not about being depressed. I need stability, a place where I will not worry about being alone if something happens. You and Eva cannot always be here, and that is okay. A facility with care and people my age means I will not be waiting alone if I am sick." After a pause, Adam promised to talk to Eva. A few days later, they visited Mark. Worry etched on their faces. Eva asked, "Dad, we get that living alone is tough, but is a senior community really right for you?" Mark replied gently, "I have thought it over. I need to be around others like me. I love you both, but you have your own lives." They nodded, and Adam said, "We support you. Dad, we will visit often." Soon after, Mark moved into a peaceful assisted living home in the suburbs, with a garden, recreation rooms, and friendly neighbors. Mark's journey evokes empathy for those fearing solitude and inspires hope, showing that exploring new living options can bring comfort and connection. His courage motivates us to plan thoughtfully for our future, embracing change to find peace and community. 9. Adapting to new life. Settling into his new assisted living home, Mark felt a mix of nerves and hope. The place was welcoming, with a lush garden and cozy recreation rooms, but it was still unfamiliar. On his first day, a kind resident named Mr. Vernon greeted him warmly, offering a tour and introducing him to a group of chess-loving seniors. That small gesture eased Mark's worries, reminding him he was not alone. Research shows that social engagement in assisted living can boost life satisfaction by 30% for older adults. And Mark began to feel that shift. That first night, lying in his new bed, he gazed out at the moonlit sky and felt a wave of relief. The worry of being alone in a crisis faded, knowing staff and neighbors were nearby. Over the next 6 months, Mark found his rhythm. He joined morning Tai Chi classes, stretching gently in the sunlight, and spent afternoons playing board games with new friends, their laughter filling the air. Regular meals in the dining hall became a comforting routine, sparking chats with others who shared his experiences. Adam and Eva visited often, sometimes bringing their kids, whose giggles lit up Mark's heart. He reassured them he was settling in, and truthfully, a quiet contentment grew within him. Studies suggest that structured routines in supportive environments can reduce anxiety in seniors by 25%, and Mark's days felt steadier, more purposeful. His story stirs empathy for those adjusting to new chapters and sparks hope, showing that embracing change can lead to connection and Da. Mark's journey inspires us to seek community, stay open to new beginnings, and find peace in the warmth of shared moments, motivating positive change in our own lives. 10. Tragic news about Linda. Mark was finding his stride in the assisted living home, basking in the warm sunshine of the courtyard one afternoon, when his phone rang. It was Adam, his voice tight with worry. "Dad, Linda has been in a car accident. She is in the ICU, and it is not looking good." Mark's heart pounded, the phone nearly slipping from his hand. "Are you sure? Where is she?" he asked, his voice trembling. Adam shared the hospital details and offered to pick him up. The drive was a blur, Mark's mind racing with memories of Linda, her laughter, and the day she left for her son's wedding, when he had tried to be brave. Studies show that sudden loss can increase stress-related health risks in older adults by 35%, and Mark felt that crushing weight. At the hospital, Adam and Eva were already in the waiting area, their faces etched with concern. Adam explained, "The doctors are still working on her, Dad, but it is serious." Mark stared at the red emergency light above the operating room doors, his pulse thundering, silently praying for Linda's strength to pull her through. Time dragged on, each minute heavy with dread, until a weary doctor emerged. Mark rushed forward. "How is she?" The doctor shook his head, explaining that Linda's injuries were severe, and her age made recovery uncertain. "You should prepare for the worst," he said softly. Mark's knees buckled, and Adam guided him to a chair, the words echoing in his mind. When the doors opened again, Mark saw Linda on a gurney, pale and still, an oxygen mask covering her face. Tears filled his eyes as he hurried to her side, calling, "Linda, it is me, Mark. Can you hear me?" Her eyes fluttered open faintly, her breathing shallow. Mark grasped her cold, fragile hand, pleading, "Hang in there, Linda. We were going to share our golden years. You cannot leave me." A single tear rolled down her cheek, and though no words came, Mark knew she recognized him. His story evokes deep empathy for those facing such heart-wrenching moments and stirs hope that even in pain, love's presence endures. Mark's devotion inspires us to cherish every moment with those we love, motivating us to hold tight to hope and connection, no matter the outcome. 11. Grieving and finding purpose. The loss of Linda left Mark in a fog of grief, his world dimmed by her absence. Back at the assisted living home, everything felt bleak, the familiar routines now hollow. His new friends offered kind words, and Adam and Eva visited more often, bringing their children to lift his spirits. Mark appreciated their love, but a deep numbness lingered, unshakable. At night, he lay awake, haunted by memories of Linda, her gentle smile, the way she cared for him when he was sick. Studies show that grief in older adults can increase the risk of depression by 40%, and Mark felt that heavy pull. But one morning, something shifted. While in the dining hall, Mark noticed a new resident, an older man looking lost and sad, much like Mark had felt when he first arrived. Moved by empathy, Mark approached him, saying, "Hey, want to walk around the courtyard with me?" The man nodded, grateful for the small gesture. They walked in silence, yet a quiet understanding passed between them. Aging can be lonely, and loss can break your heart. But a kind presence can ease the pain. That evening, as Mark lay in bed, Linda's memory filled his mind, but the ache felt different. Alongside the sorrow, a tender gratitude bloomed for the time they shared. Her warmth lived on in his heart, and that realization sparked a new resolve. Mark decided to live well, honoring Linda's memory by embracing each day. One morning, he stepped outside, letting the sunlight warm his face, and recalled Linda's last words. Live well. Her wisdom reminded him to cherish every relationship and accept life's fleeting nature. Mark's journey through grief stirs empathy for those mourning loved ones and offers hope, showing that even in loss, purpose can emerge. His story inspires us to reach out to others, hold gratitude close, and find meaning in life's fleeting moments, motivating us to live with intention and kindness. Of life lessons and reflections. Through his journey, Mark uncovered profound truths about aging that resonate deeply with us all. He learned that old age is not just about loss, but about realization. The understanding that every bond, from family to friendships to late-life companions, is a treasure to hold close while it lasts. Time moves fast in our later years, yet Mark found ways to fill his days with purpose. He reflects on a quote from writer Haruki Murakami, who said we age in sudden bursts. One day waking up to find youth gone, parents frail, and the mirror showing a face we hardly recognize. This can stir worry, as studies show that 60% of older adults fear losing independence due to health or loneliness. Mark felt this too, noticing how he spoke less, not for lack of words, but because he valued those who truly listened. He faced setbacks, health scares, financial concerns, and children too busy to visit, realities that shrink even the largest social circles. Yet, in the stillness of night, Mark found peace by accepting himself, learning that his worth did not hinge on others' approval. Humility, he discovered, was the path to calm. His view of love also shifted, from the grand passions of youth to a quieter, wiser appreciation. Not every love lasts forever, but each one shapes us, and Mark learned to cherish memories without clinging to unrealistic hopes. Research supports this, showing that emotional resilience in seniors can reduce stress by 30%. Fostering well-being. Life's disappointments piled up, but so did moments of grace, teaching Mark to balance hope with realism, a wisdom that freed him from constant letdown. Above all, he realized the person always there for him was himself. By standing strong through heartache and allowing himself to heal, Mark found an unshakable strength. His story evokes empathy for those navigating the challenges of aging and sparks hope, showing that self-acceptance and resilience can light the way. Mark's reflections inspire us to cherish our relationships, embrace life's impermanence, and find peace within, motivating us to live with purpose and grace, no matter our age. Dear friends, as we close Mark Thompson's heartfelt story, let us carry forward his wisdom for living alone in our golden years. The worry of solitude is real, with studies showing that 30% of older adults face loneliness that can harm health and spirit. Yet, Mark's journey stirs empathy and hope, showing us that peace is within reach. Start by building a solid financial plan to ease future fears, and stay active with hobbies or community groups to keep loneliness at bay. Do not shy away from seeking companionship, whether through new friends or a special someone, as connection can boost well-being by 35%. If an assisted living community feels right, embrace it for the stability and camaraderie it offers. Above all, treasure the people who care for you. And when the night feels heavy, with memories of those gone, know they live on in your heart. Mark reminds us to live well, to honor each day with purpose, just as he did for Linda. So, let us step forward with courage, nurturing our bonds, finding joy in small moments, and creating a life of dignity and connection. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Keep shining, and let us make every day count. If Mark's inspiring story has touched your heart, please show your support by giving this video a big thumbs up. Share it with your loved ones to spread hope and wisdom. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join our community. Tap the notification bell so you never miss our uplifting stories. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Keep shining, and let us make every day count.